Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, you guys know the deal on this channel. We must continue to stand up, set the record straight, stop the lies, stop the narratives, y'all. We must continue to stop them from rewriting the history, man. And in this video, I want to talk about something that I saw, a post from my man Charles over the Dreamers Pro, something about Paul Pierce saying that Europeans were soft, the European players were soft, and my thoughts on this, man, because once again, we're getting confused here. I think a lot of these ex-NBA players, man, they just say weird things. They don't even understand. They don't even know what they're saying half the time. They're just talking to talk, right? So we're gonna talk about that in this video, man, because the Europeans are not soft, right? It's the Americans who have gotten soft, right? We've gotten softer. They haven't gotten tougher. We've gotten weaker, right? We're not as tough as we used to be, man. We're going to talk about it in this video. And I want to thank you guys, man. Once again, everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man, that's been supporting my channel, guys. Much respect to all you guys out there, man. For real, everybody in the membership. Thank you to everyone standing up. All the real basketball fans, guys. I'm truly humbled by support, man, for real. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I want to do a video about Paul Pierce talking about the European players being soft, or just in general, people calling the European players soft. And I want to talk about it in the perspective, as, like I said, it relates to when I was growing up watching basketball in the 80s and the 90s, and how that word being soft as it relates to the European basketball players. Because what has happened now over the last, 10 years or so in the NBA is there's been a culture shift, so to speak, right? There's been a shift in the mindset with these players, right? With the guys that are in the NBA. These guys have become not sissified, so to speak. And I hate to say that and use that term, but that's what's going on right now when we talk on this channel about being a grown man, being a man, playing in men's sports, right? You're supposed to be a professional athlete, right? But at your core, you should be a grown man. These are supposed to be grown men that were supposed to be playing these sports. I told you when I grew up watching professional athletes, you knew first and foremost, these were grown men. These guys were tough. They had heart. They had grit. They played through injuries. They played through pain. That's what I remember about a lot of these professional athletes. That's what it meant to me to be a true pro, to show up to work, to be there, right? To play with the love of that game. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the game was, they played with that love. You know what I'm saying? That's why they was out there giving it their all, because they loved the game. It wasn't about the money or the fame for these guys, man. For most of them, some of them there was, absolutely. So when we think about someone like a Paul Pierce and he's talking about European players and he's calling them soft, what he's doing is he's relating it to the mindset, probably what he's thinking about back in them days. Because once again, what has happened is the mind shift, the shift of the players in today, the American players of today in the NBA, they have gotten soft. That's who's gotten soft. The American NBA players have gotten soft. Americans in general, we have gotten soft. I'm talking to all the men out there. We have gotten soft. All of a sudden now, right, it's frowned upon to be a man, to be a grown man, like I said, to stand on things like integrity, honor, right? Carrying yourself with class. All of a sudden now, to have that manly energy, to expect and hold other grown men to that same standard, now all of a sudden, that's frowned upon. That's not the things that we should be thinking about, right? And this is why I always talk to you guys about in this channel. This is why I do not feel that some of these guys are worthy to be in the conversations or be compared to some of the other all-time great players, because of the way that they carry themselves as professionals, grown men. They don't carry themselves with that same honor and integrity, with that class. Once again, they look down on the fans. They do not play with the love of the game. They're there for the money and the fame. They do not care about the game like that. They just don't. They don't respect the fans. This is why they don't want to show up to work. They don't care if you paid your hard-earned money for that ticket. So when we think about being soft, quote unquote soft, and I tell you guys, back when I was growing up, the European players, they were considered soft. Not because they were soft in and of themselves, right? They were, weak, or they couldn't fight, or they weren't tough, things of that nature. It's just that compared to the Americans, compared to us, they were viewed as softer. not necessarily as individuals, like I said, or countries or wherever they're from being a soft country or the people from this place being soft. That's never what it was about. When I tell you that the Europeans were viewed as being soft, it was compared to the Americans. We were always viewed as being the tough guys, the tougher nation. We had the pride. We played through pain, through injuries. There were no excuses for the Americans. No excuses in America. There's no excuses. There's no excuses. There was never excuses. And this is why the pride was there. And this is what we're talking about when we're saying the European players were soft back in them days or viewed as being soft back in those days. It has nothing to do with, these guys and where they're from. Like I said, their nationalities, the country that they represent being soft. Absolutely not, right? It's the image that these guys portrayed as it pertains to the Americans. Remember, it was the Europeans, right, that were known for being floppers. This was the soccer mentality that a lot of these basketball players brought to the NBA. They were the ones known for being floppers, right? When we think about European competition, right, and world play, the Olympics, we were the ones that dominated Olympic world play even before the dream teams. We were the Americans, the amateurs. The American amateurs, these were boys, they were kids, 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, going against grown men, right, that were professional basketball players in those countries being disguised, right, behind their occupations. They would put down as their occupation soldier or mason worker, right, or teacher, whatever the case may be, to show that that's what their profession was. Meanwhile, they were professional basketball players, right, masquerading as amateurs. And yet and still, the Americans dominated basketball for years and years and years. Like I said, before the Dream Team, guys. So that goes to the toughness, right, of the Americans. These were college kids going against grown men, seasoned professionals. And yet and still, we would dominate these guys, right, year after year after year, Olympic after Olympic, winning the gold medal because it was the American sport. It was our sport. And once again, we had the mindset to be tough, the pride to go out there and give it your all and hustle. And the fundamental game was there on top of all of those things that I just mentioned. So when we think about European players being soft, absolutely. Do I think Nikola Jokic is soft? Absolutely not. No one's saying that he's soft, right? Do I think that Giannis is soft? I think he might be a little bit softer than Nikola Jokic. Maybe Luka Doncic can be viewed as being a soft player. But once again, why is this? Due to the way that Luka Doncic is. He's always whining and complaining. But once again, this is what he picked up probably from the Americans. Because this is what we do now. We're always whining and complaining, looking for an excuse, playing the victim. Right? The Americans are the entitled, spoiled babies right now. Whereas before, America represented hard work, a blue-collar attitude. Never forget that. America was built off of hard work, man. This is what it means to be a hard-working American, right? Someone who contributes to society. It's about the hard work, the middle class, the average everyday commoner, right? This is what America represents. It's not about the elitists, the people who have the millions of the dollars and all of these things. That doesn't represent America. It's the people, the commoners, man. The people down there, the grunts, so to speak, doing all the work. And that's toughness right there. And this is what we always represented, to be tough. The NBA, we talk about the 80s and the 90s, right? The era I grew up watching, the physicality of the game. This is the way it was played, guys. It wasn't soft. There was a physical component there to the game. You had to be tough, right? There was an intimidation factor there for the Americans over some of these other countries. They were intimidated by us when we went in there. All of a sudden now, all these years later, we've lost that intimidation factor. We've lost the swag that we had for all those years. We've lost the toughness. So the Europeans have not gotten softer or tougher. We've gotten weaker. We've gotten softer. The mindset has changed. The mindset has shifted. It's been changed. Now it's all about the individual. The fundamentals are not important anymore. Everyone wants to dribble around like a bunch of idiots. They want to chuck up these shots. Nobody wants to play defense. Nobody has the grit anymore. Everyone wants the fame and the money. Nobody wants to be the role player, do the dirty work, be the other guy, right? So now this is where we are in the Olympics, where the USA team can barely qualify, can't even medal in the FIBA games. Once again, I ask anybody out there who believes the world has quote-unquote caught up to us, you're telling me right now, the 92 Dream Team, you just put the 92 Dream Team the way that they were at that time, and you dropped them into Olympic play today, you're going to sit there and tell me with a straight face they're not going to dominate the competition? They're not going to dominate the competition because the world's caught up to us. So all the guys that played in 92, they would be irrelevant today. This is what they want you to believe, guys. It's laughable for you guys or anyone to believe that if you drop Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, Clyde Drexler, Chris Mullin, you drop these guys in Olympic play right now, that they would not win the gold medal? They would be outclassed? Or they would be not skilled enough to compete? It's a joke, guys. Once again, it's laughable. These guys do not know what they're talking about. They're not being honest. Because the one thing that the true professionals back in them days had, the 92 Dream Team had, once again, was grown men who had heart, that gave the effort. They wasn't going to go out there and go through the motions. They wasn't going to take teams for granted or take teams lightly because they was from some country they never heard of. No, or they didn't know the guys' names on the back of the jersey. I told you, it was never about the names on the back of the jersey for these guys. It was about the competition. Michael Jordan told Chuck Daly, I'm guarding the point guard, the Puerto Rican team, I'm guarding the point guard. And Chuck Daly said, why are you going to do that? Just guard the shooting guard. Then he said, no, I got the point guard. He was talking trash about me in the papers. So I'm going to take it to him. This is what it was about. He didn't care that it was some no-name guy talking trash about him in the papers in Puerto Rico. He had a point to prove. It was about the competition, damn it. It didn't matter who he was. He wanted to talk trash, and Michael Jordan was like, all right, I got you. No doubt. You're going to tell me that 92 Dream Team, they're going to struggle in today's Olympic play because the world's caught up to us. It's nonsense, guys. It's because we've regressed as a society, as American basketball. We have regressed. We've gone backwards. We have not gone forward or pushed the game forward in a long time. This is the only way that someone can, quote unquote, catch up to you is when you're standing still. Think about that. We were never standing still. We were always head and shoulders above because we were always moving the game forward, pushing the boundaries, right? But always keeping the core fundamentals. That was always the core of basketball for America, for the NBA. This is why we are the standard in basketball. But now they want you to believe that the Europeans are soft, but they're dogging us out. How are the Europeans soft? And once again, when we were growing up, they were viewed as soft. Now we're soft. The Americans are the soft ones. You see us, it's reversed, guys. Back when I was growing up, we used to say things like sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Now you have guys getting upset when fans say something to them and they have them removed from the stands. Think about how that sounds, guys. They can't even take someone yelling something at them, even though they're getting paid millions of dollars. They feel the audacity of these fans to say things like that to us. This is how entitled these fools are. I told you, I don't care what they say. I'm not with that stuff, guys. I don't care if they say something racial. Not saying it's right. People should not be saying crazy things. But if people want to talk trash and they feel that free around whoever they're around to say these crazy things, if they're going to say these things, once again, who cares? You should go out there and shut them up with your play. That's how you shut them up, right? Or you ignore these people. You take the high road. You don't get these people ejected because once again, you look like the sensitive fool. I lose respect for these guys when they do that. But you're going to say the Europeans are soft, right? See what I'm saying, guys? It's not all about, a European guy being soft or someone from a certain country being soft. It's the mindset that we've lost as Americans in this country as it pertains to the NBA. And overall, guys, like I said, man, they don't make men like they used to because for some reason to be a man is frowned upon now. Now you can't be a grown man and stand on something. This is why when you try to talk to these weird fans of these fake fans and you try to relate things like integrity, honor, class, they don't understand what you're talking about. They don't get it. Understand that pertains to being a professional athlete. They don't understand these things. But meanwhile, you have people asking for respect. You see what I'm saying, guys? So when Paul Pierce talks about the European players being soft, no, the European players are not soft. The Americans are soft, and the European players were always viewed as softer than the Americans. They were the floppers. They were the soccer players. They were the actors, the performers. Whereas the Americans, we were known for being tough. America was always known for being tough. But all of a sudden now, we're not being known for being tough. Known for being a bunch of flopping babies that can't play basketball anymore, can't compete. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.